2 minutes till the lights come down. I'll make it short because these 2 minutes should be for the chairperson of our advisory board. Has been really influential in guiding our content and in being a friend, a mentor, and an important part of our team, Viola Llewellyn, president of Ovamba Solutions.
Thank you, Leland. Wow, the brave, those who are still here. Thank you all so very much for spending the day with us, and I do mean that to everybody who was here earlier today or who may be at alternative tracks right now, and especially to those of you at home who very kindly participated in this remotely. I really have to say a huge thank you to the Egyptian government, to ministers, central banks, and everybody who is here, online attendees, investors, VCs, all of the stakeholders and the participants in what is one of the most exciting markets, not just in Africa, but the world. As you know, Africa is becoming globalized. We've punched the ticket to gain entry to something that is lucrative, exciting, and is building legacy and is literally pushing our DNA as far away from the poverty line as you can get. And as I've been here since last Saturday, working with Leland and the team, it's been quite exciting to see the physicality of the Egyptian market and try to imagine that from a digital perspective. VCs, startups, growth stage companies, future unicorns, ecosystem builders, they are all here. They are all being born here. They are being supported from here, and they will go out into the world, and it will be exciting. So.
Sorry, I'm sending cryptic signals from the, I'll make a comment.
I'm going to get to that. Okay, that's all right. So one of the things, I just wanted to share some final thoughts as we conclude the rest of the day and explain to you that what Leyland and Andrew Bardham, and their names are all at the end of this, I was going to thank them, don't you worry. And we will get there to signify and thank every single person on the team that put this wonderful event together here at the St. Regis. But why on earth would anybody want to care so very much about the African Fintech Summit? It is the biggest, and it is the most comprehensive of all of the events in our exciting industry. But it's more than financial inclusion that drives the work that the Africa Fintech Summit does. It's an encouraging place for young startups to secure their own form of financial inclusion into the investment world, while they create the tools that create the ecosystem for the everyday human being to have a much better life. Here in Egypt, we've heard today from so many different panelists about the alternative finance laws and the regulations that are being developed and considered in order to create balanced openness that will drive growth and responsible financial inclusion and financial innovation. And for every positive, wonderful thing that is being done here, there's also that sense of caution and consideration to what does this mean? How do we ensure that innovation is not being done just for innovation's sake, but it is actually addressing the needs of the human beings, and that we're tracking through data the impact on the human beings that are using the products and services that are being created? We heard and I saw great examples of collaboration today. And by inviting people like you, me, and all of us to bring innovation and experience to Egypt, Egypt is doing what it's done for thousands of years, opening its doors and allowing different cultures, people, some of them are marauders, that is true, various religions, not all of them have been that groovy, but Egypt does something unique. It takes the best of even the worst and continues to be Egypt. Nevertheless. And I say this to you, that means that if you do come to do business here, or do come here to do business with Egyptian innovators and business builders, you will allow yourself to be enriched, and you will have a business that is already getting diversification and that historic sense of innovation and building right into its own roots. You've only to look out the window across the Nile from the beautiful St. Regis to see that the old stands next to the new, but each one still stays the same. I've been to many different countries, but this one is really quite unique and fantastic. Egypt feels like the dawn of time when you talk about it. I was laughing at the fact that I showed my mother a picture out the window on a video on WhatsApp, and she kept saying, is that the biblical Egypt, the biblical Nile? And she couldn't quite connect the idea that there are all these modern buildings, but yet she, just like every human that has ever existed in the last couple of thousand years, they know what Egypt is. But what they don't know is what it's becoming. And with thanks to so many people who've been here today, we're going to see that evolution probably in fast forward, because that's what digital transference does. It speeds up the best, but it can speed up the worst. And that is why careful innovation, balanced with smart policy and regulation, needs to keep up with innovation so that that lag does not create the open doorway for the things we need to fix later or our children have to fix later, because we weren't able to get it quite right and learn from our history. As I said, cultures have come and gone, but Egypt always stays Egypt. And now with this digital movement, that historic resilience that has made Egypt the best of ecosystems is coming to the fore through growth, openness, acceptance, and the global leadership that we're seeing here today. Tech and innovation is in the DNA of Egypt. How on earth did they build those pyramids? Yes, it sounds like a trite question, but to be perfectly honest, we're going to see things that will be greater monuments even than that. It's a very exciting market. We're all glad to be here. Investing in homegrown innovation here in Egypt is going to be largely in part how we reverse the brain drain amongst the youth and the diaspora by giving them the tools to create something that is long-lasting and that will stand the test of time because it is transferable. You cannot innovate in a bubble. You have to innovate with an idea that there is a future. And when you innovate for the future, there is always the very high likelihood that you will not see the end game. But that's what greatness is. You build today for those tomorrow. And Egypt is a great testament to that. They built so much, so long ago, with the highest levels of technical expertise, and it's still here today. And I'm pretty sure that the intellectual property that is being derived by the innovations in this country will do exactly the same and even more. So this industry is poised for a controlled expansion. Notice I did not say explosion. Apparently that's not a very PC word, so I didn't say it, and I'm not going to say it. But it is poised for controlled expansion with space to do what all innovation needs, which is the space and time to work out the kinks, fail forward with support, and serve customer interest. So we call upon stakeholders to remember that the innovator's journey does not always match your political timeline. It does not always survive market cycles. But by giving space and time for it to find its way, we do justice to the young innovators. This virtual cycle of risk, investment, returns, and exit is very similar to the ideas of wash, rinse, and repeat. And for those who are serial entrepreneurs, that's basically what they live by. You start up, you experiment forward, you work out the kinks. There's a commercial product, and if you're lucky, the banks will take you on, partner with you, or you can sell and license and move on to go and do the next best thing with a better foundation of knowledge and experience in order to make the world a better place. The regulators, the banks, and all stakeholders have a lot to think about. Crowdfunding, secondary markets, parallel markets, taxation impact, what happens to crime, fraud, and those things that have often made us afraid when we didn't have the power of digital insight to get the visibility and the transparency needed to be bold enough to say, yes, we're going to do something different. We don't know what the ending is going to be like, but we do have the skill to pivot and change and respond to the need to adjust opinions. Licensing and permissioning, openness and international engagement. What will we need to be successful as a continent? As we see Egypt leaping forward, they're basically closing the gap between the north and what we always refer to as sub-Saharan Africa. Sub-Saharan Africa is not very far away, but through digital engagement and investment, we can be a united continent. And with the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, that's really, really important. The biggest trading blocks supported by payment rails and innovation starting not just here in Egypt, but many of the other countries that have played their role in getting us to where we are today. So I want to get to the most important part of why I am standing here. So grateful to have had such an engaging day. Leland, you're brilliant. Your vision is excellent. That some of us will follow you all over the bloody place. Look at me right here, post-COVID, enjoying a day meeting brand new people and remembering why we do this in the first place. Andrew Barden, and your never failing attention to detail. And Raleigh, running around at top speed, making sure that we try to keep the trains on time. And apologies for those who got to miss out on anything. Sometimes these things do happen. I also want to thank Zacharias. Thank you for your guidance and your leadership. And to Alex Swako, you sarcastically wonderful, smart, intelligent member of a future that I probably will not see. I hope that you continue to give the very best of yourself. You're lucky to be with this team because they're absolutely brilliant. Karima El Hakim. Stylish, smart, vocal, consistent, loquacious. Loved having you up here. Many thanks to you and everything that you've provided today. And to all the moderators, the speakers, the hotel, the supporters, the team that kept the microphones going, and you online who took the time to spend the day with us from wherever you are, in whatever pajamas you were wearing. And huge thanks to Jack Dorsey, making a few thousand students possible to sit and be impacted by everything that went on today. Those students, all of you are marching into a future that has been foundationed by people you may never meet, but I hope that you feel a sense of gratitude in your hearts for where this will lead you and what this means for your future. With the success of Egypt and with the success of all of the innovation that we've heard whispered at today, I'm going to say the selfish thing that I always say. This ain't your granddaddy's Africa. This is a very, very, very different continent. If you blink, it's not that you'll miss it. It means that you will never see the pieces needed to replicate this kind of success around the world, because Africa leapfrogs. But we will lead. We stand on the very ground that creates some of the world's greatest wealth. But the best wealth that we need to remember to protect is the intellectual property and the vision and the imagination of those young people that come to groups like the African Fintech Summit in order to learn about what's new, what's groovy, and what's going to make the world a better place. We are so grateful to everyone who's here. If I've left off anything, please do let me know so that I can cover it. And I want everybody to remember, today was a great day. We look forward to April 2021 when we'll do this all again in in Washington, D.C. in 2022. And I believe there are competitions tomorrow. Check the agenda. Don't forget to tweet. The hashtag was up there. You can tweet your thoughts, your opinions, your feelings, or any of even your dissatisfaction. All comments are welcome as long as it leads to a brighter future for all of us. Thank you for being here, and thank you for letting me close out the conference.
No.